you get what you do not want. As illustrated above, a pendulum can be powered both by its supporters and its opponents. Loss of energy on behalf of an adherent is just half the story. If a pendulum is sufficiently destructive, it can damage a person's welfare and future. Everyone is confronted with negative information or a challenging event at some time of another. Bad news and unfortunate events are provocation on the part of the pendulum. People obviously do not want to have this negativity in their lives, but generally speaking, they always respond in one of two ways. If the information they receive is not too hurtful, they let it go, and it is quickly forgotten. If the provocative information is annoying or frightening, that is, touches a chord in a person's soul, then their mental energy is captured in the pendulum's loop, and the person is attuned to the resonance frequency. Events then unfold fairly predictably. The person gets angry, worried, and afraid, expresses their upset in an agitated fashion, and in general, actively radiates energy at the frequency of the destructive pendulum. Not all the negative energy is harvested by the pendulum. Some of it radiates out to sectors in the alternative space that correspond to the quality of the person's thought energy, which facilitates a shift to a lifeline where what the person would rather avoid is to be found in excess. If you remember, when a person's thought energy is attuned to a certain frequency, they shift to a corresponding lifeline. A pendulum ensnares a person's thought energy, holding it at a certain frequency. This is what is so destructive about the role of a pendulum. For example, generally we let information about accidents and disasters pass us by. If we are not directly affected, why upset ourselves unnecessarily? As a rule, when you hear the news, a disaster is taking place somewhere in the world. But you are on a lifeline where you play the role of witness rather than victim. The line on which you are the victim is somewhere further away. Conversely, if you allow yourself to take on board information about disaster and misfortune and discuss it with friends, it is quite possible that you will soon shift to a lifeline where you may well end up in the role of the victim. The stronger your desire to avoid something, the more likely it is that you will encounter it. To actively fight against what you do not want in your life is to make every effort to ensure that it is present in your life. You do not have to take any specific action to shift onto undesired lifelines. It is enough to think negative thoughts and then fertilize them with emotion. When you do not want there to be bad weather, you think about how much you dislike rain. Noisy neighbors wear you down, and you end up arguing with them all the time or silently hating them. You are afraid of something, and the fact greatly concerns you. Or you have had enough of your present job and savor your dislike for it. Everywhere you are pursued by exactly the very thing you do not want, that you fear, hate, or despise. There may be other things that you would also like to avoid, but because you are not investing any negative emotion into them, they do not appear in your life. Once you let the thing you do not want into your life, associate feelings of hostility with it, and indulge in those feelings, it will instantly become a physical reality within your life layer. The only way to eliminate the things you do not want from your life is to break free from the influence of the pendulum that has seized your thought energy, and from then on, avoid responding to its provocation or getting pulled into its game. You can free yourself from a pendulum's influence in two ways: by defeating it or by stopping its sway. We will look more closely at how this can be done below.